Giving us some of your time this morning. Before we get into the details of her political career, Mr. Bloem, maybe just reflect on the Jessie Duarte you remember before her passing.
Good morning, Rofhiwa, and good morning to the viewers. It's a very sad day for South Africa and the comrades who have worked with Comrade Jessie. Some of us in the COPE have worked with Comrade Duarte in the United Democratic Front in the 80s. Comrade Duarte was a very strong, principled, hard worker. She was not a person who was scared of dirtying her hands. She was not a backbencher. She was always there when the liberation struggle was fought. It is not a person who was just there for position. You must remember, at that time, positions was a very dangerous thing to have in those dark days. But Comrade Jessie was always in the forefront. She have mobilized the women around the country. Fedro was part and parcel of Jessie Duarte's project. When the late Albertina Sisulu was giving her the task of mobilizing the women, I personally can attest to it that she was crisscrossing the Free State, mobilizing the women against apartheid. That is how we, as in the Congress of the People, will remember Comrade Jessie Duarte.
And one of the things that she'll also be remembered for, Mr. Bloem, is the fact that she was known as a servant of the people. She had a great sense of servanthood and was never, ever one to shy away, like you've mentioned, from servicing any community, whether it be women or marginalized communities. And then there have been calls for that legacy of servanthood to be continued within the ANC. I fear, though, that based on what we've seen over the recent years, this legacy might fall by the wayside.
The poorest of the poor will miss Comrade Jessie Duarte. Comrade Jessie Duarte was a person who was always there for the poorest of the poor. She cared very much for the people of South Africa. She was not a person who will say that I'm having what I have today and don't care about the poor people of this country. Comrade Jessie was a hard worker. Comrade Jessie was not a person who will think about her own things, but she have dedicated her life to this struggle for freedom. We don't have any doubt that the ANC and the people of this country will miss Comrade Jessie Duarte. She was a loving person, full of laughter. Many people don't know the other side of Comrade Jessie. I personally, who have worked with Comrade Jessie Duarte during those dark days of the struggle, can say to the people of this country, we have lost a very heart warming person, a person who have gave all her life to the struggle of this people. She will never, ever shy away of telling people what is the truth. I can remember when there was racism issues in one of the areas in the country. I think it was in the Val, where people were talking about a colored Indian whites, and so Comrade Jessie came out very strong and tell the ANC, where we come from, there was never a question of race classification. It was always about the struggle of the people to free the country from this racist attitude. Comrade Jessie I personally will remember Comrade Jessie for her straightforward attitude and not hide behind, no, I am the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. We will remember her for that.
And of course, her political career towards the end of her life, and I'm speaking specifically about 2021, when she was put in a difficult position on signing off on the suspension of her Secretary General, Mr. Ace Magashule, really left her in a really difficult place within the party because many disagreed with the decision that was made for her to do so. So would you say that her last few years or months within her political career were particularly difficult for her to navigate? And do you think that she did so, as she would have during the apartheid years, as you've mentioned, with a staunch sense of what exactly she was doing and not being intimidated by anyone or anything?
Comrade Jessie was a tower. I personally think that nothing was difficult for Comrade Jessie. When the Secretary General of the General Secretary of the ANC was suspended, Comrade Jessie Duarte went into that position knowing that she is capable in leading that office. I don't think it was difficult for her. But I must say that Comrade Jessie was very much concerned about what is happening in the ANC today. The last time I met with Comrade Jessie was when President Ramaphosa appeared before the Zondo Commission. We had a very lengthy discussion with Comrade Jessie, and what she was saying to me is that, you see, Dennis, you comrades have left the movement. Now we are faced with these things that is happening here. Why did you took that decision in leaving the party for opportunists to come in and take over the party? She will always say to me and said to me, Dennis, please come back home because you comrades know where we come from and you are not part and parcel of the destruction of the ANC. And I will really miss Comrade Jessie's straightforwardness when it comes to things within the ANC. She was very worried that the divisions in the ANC must be addressed and it must be a united ANC, not a divided ANC. That is what Comrade Jessie was always telling me when we were meeting each other. In anywhere, she will express that to me.
Well, Mr. Dennis Bloem, thank you very much for sharing your insights on the fallen struggle stalwart, Ms. Jessie Duarte, Deputy Secretary there. It was announced that she passed away rather in the early hours of this morning, and her burial will be taking place later on this